Hello, good morning, welcome back to my channel. We have had nothing but rain since the new year, but look at this, we're getting a day of sunshine, so it's time to get back in the garden and see what's what. I have made a big mistake that I figured out. I don't know why I randomly figured it out only a few days ago, so that's the first thing that we're going to go and tackle. I need to dig something up because I've put it in the wrong place. I bet you can't even see me in the sun behind me. What a glorious morning. So the mistake, it's in here. And here it is. There is my mistake. That's my grapevine. I foolishly planted this grapevine here thinking it'll grow up the centre pole and it'll fan out across the top of the fruit cage. Well, obviously, that's not going to work, is it? Because this grapevine needs to vine across lower down from here, so it can't stay here. I don't know what's going to go here instead, but this can't stay here. Now, thankfully, it is dormant, so moving it shouldn't cause it too many problems. And I'm actually going to put it in the far corner. I'm going to move one of the raspberry canes and put it in that far corner instead. Now, this was just a bit of fleece that I put around it when it was very wet. Put gloves on. I have to take my gloves back off. Right, take my gloves off so that I can undo all of this twine. Not sure how far to dig around it because it's quite a new thing. It's probably not that well rooted yet, is it? Right. Now I need to move one of the raspberry canes. These are my autumn ones anyway, and I'm not so much for the autumn ones as the summer ones. I don't like the yellow ones quite so much. Just test it into the hole. It's probably a little bit too low actually. Don't think I need to put it that much into the water table, which is ridiculously high. Got it tucked right in the corner so that it can go up that corner post. And get fanned out along wires. Might put in a small wooden structure yet. I haven't decided how I'm going to support it. I'm going to leave it over winter, and then next year we're going to start, as it grows, trying to get it to train up there and along. Now all I need to do is decide what I'm going to plant in the centre of here. Do I make this entire thing my strawberry bed and raise it up slightly? Do I plant a rhubarb there? Or do I think about something like a flowering cherry tree that could be supported up the centre? I don't know. Decisions. As for this leftover raspberry cane, I think I'm going to plant it in a bit of a wildlife area and just let the birds have them. The place I'm thinking of making a bit of a wildlife area for planting is on this hump here because it's quite dry up there. I know it's wet all the way around it, and this is my sister's plot. It is evolving, there are more beds on it, but I think we're going to maybe move my fruit trees that are wet up onto this bank here, and I'm going to put the raspberry bush up there, and hopefully it'll take, and the wildlife can have some raspberries without wanting to get mine and hers, hopefully. There's a bare patch of soil here. I'm going to dig a bit of a hole here, and I'm going to go and get some soil out of one of my beds because it's quite sandy here. Put the soil plonked in. Oh, it's like making sandcastles. And then I'll just poke it in. Hopefully that will work. It might be a completely balmy idea, but I don't want it anywhere else, so it's worth a try. We've also ordered a greenhouse for her. We have been leaving a gap here to put the greenhouse between the fruit cage and the shed, but we've now decided, because it's flatter, we're actually going to put it here between the fruit cage and the compost bin. The ground does drain very quickly though, because this is what it looks like today, but I'll now overlay pictures of what this space looked like yesterday. So it's not too bad, considering the amount of rain that we've had. We're quite lucky. It's going to be built up on engineering blocks, so it just makes sense not to be growing things lower into the ground there. And then she'll be able to move some of her metal raised beds up to here behind the shed instead. My next project for this morning is here on the north side of the tunnel. This pathway is just for my sister to get to her plot, and obviously I put things in the compost bins which are there. But I'm thinking that I'm going to have a narrow bed all the way down the tunnel, and I'm going to section it off so things can't get overzealous, because one of the things I'd like to plant along here is mint, something to deter rodent activity away from the polytunnel. Back in the messy workshop, I found 3 pieces of the 4.8 metre length wood. So I'm going to have 2 beds that are 2.4 metres long each, and then a middle bed that is 1.2 metres long. That gives me the 6 metres long of the polytunnel, and then they're going to be 40 centimetres in depth. So this should mean I get exactly the amount of wood I need out of these 3 pieces. Bit of a to me to you moment. A lot easier now I've moved my van out of the way. We've got all of the pieces that we need to do this now. For the 2 long beds, the shorter bed in the middle, and 6 sides. All I've got to do is put them together now. The last screw. So there we have it, the 3 very crude, very simple flower beds for the north side of the tunnel. Obviously, when the crops are growing inside the tunnel in summer, they will provide a lot of shade to this area. So if you've got any suggestions on what to plant in these planters over summer, I'd be really grateful. Please drop me some comments below. Now all I've got to do is cart them all the way around to the polytunnel. I think I'll start with the smallest one. I'm just going to leave this one out here a little bit because I need to line the other ones up first. Feeling a bit lazy, don't want to make 3 journeys. It's getting a bit heavy by the time I've got here. Kind of regretting it now. There's going to be a lot of levelling going on shortly. If I get down to this angle, you can probably see just how uneven the ground is there. How's that? Ooh, the sky looks beautiful. So I'm just going to do a bit of levelling. I didn't really want to take the membrane out from underneath this section here, simply because the membrane and the plastic that's coming from the tunnel, I feel will give a little bit of defence from things digging inside the tunnel. So it's either shallow rooted plants, or really do need to get another height, get it another row higher. I'll start with this one. quite sure how close to go to the tunnel actually. I'm not wanting to leave a massive rat run gap, so I'm going quite tight up to the polytunnel. Hopefully enough of an air gap to help not rot that base rail though. And now I just need to work out levelling them off, because a lot of it can be hidden with wood chip around it. I think I'm going to put some gloves on so that I can just scrape away underneath it. It's obviously too high this end at the moment. That one's pretty level now. I just need to do that 2 more times for the other beds. That's as tight up to the polytunnel as we could go. That's the finished look. I'm thrilled with that. It's agricultural because I've done it, but it's certainly a bit of extra growing space. Not going to fill them up with soil at the moment. We have some quite dry, frosty weather forecast towards the middle of next week. Hopefully Duncan will then be able to drop the bag of compost into that space that we've left for bulk bags to be dumped over the fence to me. And I can get these beds filled, and then I can also get these other beds cut out and filled on this side of the tunnel. Just show you how the broad beans are doing that were transplanted. They seem to be okay. Not sure if it picks up on camera, but the ones here that were direct sown have got a completely different texture and colour to the leaves of these ones here that were sown in the greenhouse. Exactly the same packet of seeds, but very different leaf, which I thought was quite interesting. I've had a bit of a move around in this onion bed as well. They were planted far too far apart. So by moving them, I now have half a bed free for some of those onions that are growing on my windowsill. So that'll be good. I'd just like to take a moment to talk about my journey with you and why I started growing. My aim for this garden is to become part-time self-sufficient. I don't expect to ever become fully self-sufficient, but if I could be part-time self-sufficient between sort of May and October for all of my salads and vegetables, then I think that's a pretty good way to help in reducing my own food miles and our family's impact on the environment. The channel was started to journal that so that I could look back on where I'd come from, and also a bit like video diaries and notes basically to remind myself what I did, what worked, what didn't work. But that journey has led this channel to a huge milestone that I never thought it would reach, which is 1,000 subscribers. And I want to thank each and every one of you that has hit that subscribe button. I appreciate all of you. It absolutely blows my mind. I did say to those of you who have been here from the beginning that if I hit 1,000 subscribers, that I would dress up. The joke was that I would dress more smartly, but then we decided that maybe I would just dress up in costume. It seems a bit silly maybe to do that for those of you that are new to the channel and won't understand what I was doing. So unfortunately I won't be doing the costume thing. I'm really sorry about that. I'm going to end the video here now, and I'll catch you in the next one. Look after yourselves. Bye. I fooled you. I love my carrot top.